So, the trend on YouTube is to do a top 50 comic book video. I'm going to change mine up a little bit. This week, we are going to do 10 books a night for my top 50. Stay tuned for the first video. Hey YouTube, it's Matt here. And like I said in the introduction, we are going to be going over the top 50 books in my collection this week. We're going to do Monday through Friday. The problem is, I don't know what my number one comic book is versus my 50th top book. Because I could easily just go and look for the value, but that's not how I look at my comic books. I look at them as the story behind them, how I acquired them, the journey to get to them, what the story meant to me. So there's so many different aspects to my collection other than straight value. So I cannot do that straight 50 to 1 or vice versa. So we're going to break this up, and I have 10 books here. We're going to talk a little bit about them. The first book that I'm going to show, I guess this is 50. Ultimate Fallout number 4. This is the first appearance of Miles Morales. I was looking for this book in early 2020 and it shot up. I don't know how it happened, but this was a book that had sat around and it was worth about $300 to $400 for quite a few years. Right now, the value of this book is just gone bonkers, but that's a cool book to have. Just showing the CGC census data in this book. There's over 2,509.8, so it's been a relatively popular book to submit to CGC, and I wonder how that's going to affect the price going forward. Number 49. Now this is the Avengers Annual, number 10, the first appearance of Rogue. This book is so dirty, so disgusting. This book is going to be, going to benefit from a cleaning. And someday I'm going to try to get this 8.5 up a little bit higher. It's not a bad grade for a Grail book, but it definitely can go up higher. There are clearly a lot of higher grade copies on the CG Census than my 8.5. And I do feel like this 8.5 can get a couple grade bumps with a proper cleaning. There is literally like caked dirt on the cover, so it has a lot of room for improvement. Number 48 is The Death of Green Goblin, Amazing Spider-Man 122. This is such an iconic book. The poor death of Gwen Stacy, the issue before. Comic books really started to make a turn around this issue. Darker themes, people died in comic books, where before they never really did, unless their name was Bucky. But so number 48 is Amazing Spider-Man 122. You can see right here, there was less than 109.8s of Amazing Spider-Man 122. It was a very early Bronze Age book. As you can see, the highest single amount of books graded came back as an 8.5. It's a solid grade for a Grail book. This is a nice book to have in a collection. This is Adam, Legend of the Blue Marvel, number 1. This book is going to become a big key once Adam Brashear makes it to the MCU. I've been hearing a lot of rumors. Not sure if it's going to happen, but eventually I think the character is so powerful, it's going to be hard to keep that strong of a character out of the live action shows. Adam, Legend of the Blue Marvel is a relatively low print run book for a modern age book. Nobody knew at the time that this book was going to be such a key. I have a 9.4, and I've done a previous video where I talked about I am going to be sending this off to be repressed. Hopefully I can get this book up to a 9.6, and even more hopeful I can get it to a 9.8. The next book. Now this book is just a cool book. It's Dynamic Forces, Amazing Spider-Man 568. This is a negative variant. Such an awesome Alex Ross cover. This one I just love. This one, I saw it for sale on Dynamic Forces website. Had to have it. This Alex Ross negative variant is just a pure fire cover. Most of the books on the CGC census are at a 9.8. Conan the Barbarian, number 3, from 1971. Just such a great story in this. I absolutely think this book is cool. Love the ad on the back for Sizzlers, Hot Wheels, a little bit like that. I love seeing historical ads on comic books. It just makes you think back to the time period that these books were printed. Conan number 3 is a relatively rare book to begin with, but the fact that it was printed in 1971 and CGC did not start as a company until the year 2000, it tells you that that book was around 29 years before it was even able to be slabbed. So older books are harder to come by in a high grade. Honestly, I'm kind of happy with the 8.5 in this collection. Now, this book is super dope, okay? This is Conan the Barbarian, number 24. This is signed by the great Roy Thomas. I sent this away to CGC for a private signing. This book by itself might be my very favorite comic book cover of all time. I say that today. Tomorrow I might have a different favorite cover of all time because my tastes seem to change all the time. But this is without a doubt on my short list of favorite covers. The census numbers for Conan 24 are relatively low. But what is really low is the Conan the Barbarian 24 in signed. As you can see, there are only 6 copies that are signed at 9.4 and 10 in the grades higher than that. The next book on the list is New Avengers number 7, the first appearance of the Illuminati. And, I talk about MCU speculation, but that's a real thing. Book values go up based upon what is going to happen in the movies. And if they ever put in the Illuminati in the movies, this is going to become a major key. Right now, it's a minor key, but this has the ability to go up quite a bit. While there aren't very many of these books graded, most of them are in the 9.8, and there are 198 copies of this book and a 9.8, but this is a variant copy to New Avengers number 7, and I really like the census data on this. Very low number of books graded. The Black Suit Trilogy. This is the first comic that had the black suit in the story. Yes, there's a couple issues before in 1983 where the art concept was put in the book, but not in story. This is the first black suit in story, but not continuity. That's a different book we're going to talk about. But this one had the first release date of the black suit in the story. As you can see, this book has been heavily submitted to CGC to be graded. There are a lot of high grades in this book. Although not every single book in the collection can be a 9.8, I am again happy with the 9.2. Not every book has to be a 9.8. And speaking of black suit, the black suit does eventually turn into Venom. Now, this is a book that introduces a new character, Noel. Noel's a cool character, getting a lot of hype, but this book is in my top 50. Venom, number 3. This Venom book is a great book because it is the first appearance of Noel, and there's a lot of people that think there's going to be a lot of great things coming out of that character. The Noel story, The King in Black, was without a doubt a giant success this past winter. Let's see what happens to this character going forward. I hope you liked this first video of my top 50 comic books. This was 50 to 41, but again, I don't know which one is which. I don't know my top number 50 versus my number 1. It's hard to tell. But guys, if you like this content, please hit that thumbs up. Put a comment down below and hit that subscription button. And I want to thank everybody for watching, and you have a great day.